The truth about playing WoW today. Is this another sad truth? How you guys feeling about playing WoW today? Classic, retail, whatever you do. Is it a depressing state no matter what? Let's find out what our man here has to say about the current state of WoW.
The truth about playing WoW today is that the endgame is stale, the loot sucks, story is lifeless, and it doesn't even value your time and money in any meaningful way. Sounds about right? Well, we didn't even scratch this.
Jeez, that's a negative start right there. I don't know about the endgame being stale. I kind of enjoyed it. I just feel like, it got a bit, long in the tooth. Okay, we're waiting for more content.
Surface.
Unless you are outside doing more interesting things like working out,
Touching
and
grass?
breathing.
You are logging into Dragonflight, which has you doing the exact same classical activities as, well, classic WoW, as part of your endgame. Dungeons and raids. Wait, there are arenas you mean? Sorry, are arenas today a good indication of a healthy and interesting endgame? I don't think
it's a side
having
content.
to grind power in a video game, especially WoW, is nothing new, and it's definitely something that people enjoy, even if they think they don't want to.
You don't want to do that.
No, we do. The best part about an MMO or playing an MMO in general is power progression. What I love about playing MMOs is that constant feeling that you're working towards getting better. You're getting better. That little dopamine hit every time you get a little bit stronger. That's what we play for. It's the difference between an MMO and just say regular playthrough game where once you're done, the content's done, your character's done, everything's done. MMO is a never-ending grind to greatness. And that's what's great about them. That's what I like playing. And that's why I never play I can never handle playing like an unofficial server or something because I can't handle the fact that one day my progression could just be taken away from me. That's not, I play MMOs for the constant state of progression.
You think you do, but you don't.
Admit it. When you had the carrot on the stick game system, you still logged in, didn't you? It might not have always been the best tasting carrot, at least you got to eat. Endgame progression systems that were similar to AP farming served their purpose. They had some terrible implementations like the literal AP grind from Legion and BFA, but also surprisingly good implementations like
You manipulate emotions.
corruptions in 8.3. You didn't think I had an answer, did you? Well, hear me out on this one, all right?
Corruptions were fine, but they were game breaking. I mean, you could have kept them forever. There's no way that shit could continue. Maybe you bring it back in some other form, but come on, you had warrior raids, like entire raids just filled with warriors. It was fun. Like I said, end of expansion shit, but there's no way you could have power progression this way.
Corruptions was poorly executed, but no matter how annoying it was, at least provided you with a satisfying payout of doing stupid amounts of damage with Twilight Devastation or literally breaking the DPS meters as a fire mage stacking mastery corruptions. And you would farm those in all the usual content like raids and dungeons, and on top of it you had horrific visions as well. And this is what is
man, this was peak COVID. I remember this shit, doing the horrific visions after we got sent home and no longer returned to the office. This was peak COVID. I remember being in, you remember how they were timed? I was in a horrific vision one time and my boss called me. And I literally had to continue. I couldn't stop. What am I going to do? Stop? I had to grind all the fucking currency to get into that thing in the first place. I'm not going to stop. So I had to talk all this legal jargon with him while I was doing the horrific vision. And suffice to say that I probably didn't say the smartest things, but I survived. And then I got fired a couple months later.
Today in Dragonflight. Horrific visions were
due to COVID cuts. Okay, not due to that fucking conversation.
Akin to a roguelike gameplay experience where the difficulty of them lessened the more you progressed your obligatory panel of insert points to gain passives and powers system. As a comparison, in Dragonflight you have fucking digs, man. Really?
I actually haven't done them.
Am I digging to find my missing youth? Nah, not even a unique cool item or an upgrade for a sweet weapon. Exactly. We dig for a useless item that does not help with endgame unless you replace it. And that is
yeah, the digging really is for alts and shit like that, alt gear, I feel like. But anyways, I don't do the digging. That's one thing about Dragonflight that's been a bit different from other expansions. If you don't want to do something, you don't have to do it necessarily. There's a bunch of ways to power progress. And that's why I enjoy Dragonflight for the most part. There's nothing forced on you. There is no Torghast shit. There is no endless AP grind. You just do what you want to do, and there's tons of ways to power progress.
Another thing, when you kill a mob and you loot it, how excited are you? Are you slaying the dragon, right-clicking its decomposing corpse and saying, "Hey, neato, I have an epic"? No, you are not. And don't
Not
lie
anymore,
to me,
no.
because you are likely still deciphering the three-dimensional chessboard that is the loot system. 6 different quality items with dozens of total ranks to go through using 5 different currencies that come from different difficulties.
Look, currency bloat is really bad. I talk about this all the time. There are way too many currencies in this game. And every time they come out, even with a new system, I mean, look, we're going to get the wet dream surges in the next patch, right? In 10.1.7, there's another currency for that. Why every time there's some new event or new thing, there's a new currency? I will say the new crest system, one of the best things they've done in this entire expansion. And one of the best things they've done in quite a while. I like the upgradability of items. I think that's great. It makes me feel like even when I loot something, there's a chance that I could make it better and actually make it relevant. I like the crest system. But in terms of other currencies, there are way fucking too many. It's unbelievable.
Of the game. How is a new player supposed to feel about all of this? I'll tell you how. The player isn't playing Dragonflight. And if you don't believe it, try to remember the last time you queued for a dungeon or a raid. Was your group easy and quick to make? I bet it wasn't. I bet you were thinking something like, game is better now, right? It's more alt-friendly than past expansions, so why aren't people playing? And
Well, I still think we're living in the post-Shadowlands wastelands, honestly. I don't think that the player population's low because Dragonflight's not fun or good. It's because Shadowlands sent so many people away, they just didn't give a fuck. They didn't come back for Dragonflight. I think we're still dealing with that fallout, more than anything that has to do with Dragonflight.
you are right. Why aren't people playing Dragonflight now more than, say, BFA, which was known as a terrible expansion with likely the worst alt-friendly systems ever? Here's why. It was fun and satisfying to loot Azurite armor more so than yet another haste mastery item. It was more fun to put your corruption on your pants and fire off a beam of damage that annihilated a pack of mobs. Even island expeditions were more interesting than community feasts.
I think island expeditions are coming back. I think island expeditions are coming. We're getting the pirate expansion. We're going to sail over the seas. We're going to go to the other side of the world. And island expeditions had to be dropped, right? They had to put all hands on deck to fix Azurite armor. So island expeditions kind of got thrown away in BFA. I think they're coming back in a much cooler, much fully fleshed out way. And island expeditions could be really cool. They really could be fun. And I don't think they'll be instanced either. I think there's going to be a lack of loading screens. That's why the Zarlak Caverns technology was implemented in the Zarlak. The way you could just fly down into the cavern, that shit's going to exist on the open sea. You could just sail to an island expedition or sail to another continent without a loading screen. All this shit's coming back. Watch and see. Watch and see.
Oh, and
then you
also,
can watch this video and be like, "Oh,
this
Sam was
orc,
right."
And he is angry at this human, who's also
Crap, that
angry
pop
at the
scares me,
orc.
man.
It's looking like they're about to fight. Oh, and look, they are fighting. But why? I guess I have to play to find out. In contrast, the Dragonflight game cover showcases Alexstrasza's main and most powerful
Yeah, showcases something already.
skill ever introduced in WoW, her ability to bluff her way to riches, since I haven't seen a better poker face
That's
than
right.
when my dad
That's right,
told my
Taiwan.
mom she doesn't look fat in that dress. Ironically, the cover is a very accurate representation of the overall emotionless feeling the game imparts on the player. The dragon roars, but it's roaring because dragons roar. It's not obvious there's an enemy. It's not obvious it's upset because, Lord, the lack of expression on Alexstrasza's face is like, I disappointed my math teacher that is both surprised and not surprised at the same time somehow. And this all reflects on the story, on the stakes, on the attachment the player should have to anything related to immersing oneself into the world. BFA, while it
Sure.
did a bait and switch with the story, it still felt like World of Warcraft by the end. That is saying something. We had some of the best things in WoW before, and the devs took them away. Never brought them back for some reason. I'm talking
Or brought them back the way they did in Shadowlands. Oh god, it brought back the Lich King storyline and just shat all over it. Fucking shat all over it. Destroyed one of the greatest characters in the game. Who does that?
Mage Tower, Challenge Mode.
Oh, Like every fucking company these days. Just look at what Disney did to Star Wars. I'll leave it there.
And generally difficult and rewarding content. Wait, we have Mage Sour back, a budget version though. And on top of it, nothing else that says Dragonflight. No skillful content to chase that rewards you with something that not everyone can achieve. Catering to the masses has neglected the individual. That's you, dude. There's no reward for the time invested in the game. No reward in terms of endgame content, not even in the open world, not in the sense where it would be interesting and worthwhile to chase. You get a few different shapes of horns for your dragons and that's it. Why not full transformations for dragons? But even with that, when everyone has it, it isn't special anymore. And as a consequence, people lose interest in it. I guess
I don't think everyone has it. Does everyone have it? I don't see that fucking mount everywhere. That shit's still pretty rare. What's he talking about?
And hop on your epic customized dragon and soar over the high tops and rivers of the Dragon Isles and epically shovel dirt like a peasant for professional knowledge, because nothing says job more than plunging your hands in shit and pulling out relevant work experience for your future resume. But hey,
I don't do. I see. I solved that problem. You know what I do, or what I don't do? Professions. I don't do 'em. There you go, problem solved.
at least the journey is what counts, right? Well, I hope you don't mean the leveling journey, because you are in for a surprise. And by surprise, I mean a total lack thereof. Granted, the Dragonflight leveling experience is probably one of the stronger points the expansion has, but that's assuming you are not a new player, because new players be damned in BFA leveling content, or God forbid, Shadowlands, when Exile's Reach is probably the
do new players go to Shadowlands? Has anyone made an alt and leveled it up through? Because they should not do that. There should be no reason any new player goes to Shadowlands. That lore is fucking basically irrelevant at this point. Besides the burning of the World Tree, which was not Shadowlands, right? That was BFA? Was it? Yeah? I don't remember. Whatever. Just don't do it. Don't send new players to Shadowlands, please. That shit will confuse the hell out of them.
best leveling experience they created. What stopped it at level 10?
So you don't gotta go to
and
Shadowlands.
can we talk about the wokeness? Jesus. Listen, I am all for inclusivity. The game is supposed to be a living world, albeit a fantasy one, that should offer home to everyone that wants to feel like they belong. But that also means dumbasses like me, who are confused about what the heck is body 1 and body 2. And if we're going to have body types, where is my skinny Kultiran male? And I'm sorry, where is my body 3, body 1 Kultiran character? People have already pointed out the Draktyr for having a weird, undragon-like appearance for them being dragons, and I cannot help but wonder if the decision to design them like this had less to do with what would make sense and fit better into the world of Warcraft.
That's what they should have looked like. Yeah, they should have been big, beefy boys. This is what they should have looked like, no doubt. I don't know why they created these you know,
Warcraft, and more to do with making them as genderly and
I think he's right. Unfortunately.
ambiguous as possible, so that they can be more relatable, when instead they are not. Not for simpletons like us who like to play big muscular characters as heavy metal wielding warriors, or slender, smart looking characters as wise spellcasters. And that is usually fine if it wouldn't have been tied to the new race and class release for the game, which visually does not match with how I would identify in the game, hence why I am not playing Evoker. And
I still don't like the Evoker body type. I don't get it. I think they could have easily made a feminine one and a masculine one. Like, that's fine. Would have been fine. Or like you did there, create a third body that's like fucking, and you can't tell what it is, neutral, whatever. But the way they went, you know, skinny boy dragons. It's really, the way they created them, honestly, just looks like it was created for Moonguard. You know, Moonguard Lion's Pride in RP. That's what these dragons are for. We know that.
There, speculate
that.
why also a lot fewer people play the new race class combo as opposed to the last class released Demon Hunters, which plagued the groups
did.
with purple for 3 patches straight back in Legion. I would hope for the game to feel like a home for everyone, but it's starting to feel like less of a home for me. Maybe that would be fine if the game wouldn't be just plain boring and soulless. But thankfully, you can still make your gameplay experience a lot better, and it's a lot easier than you may think. And conveniently for you right here, this video will help you enjoy WoW a lot more and make the most out of what is the game today.
Oh, wow, that cut short of that quicker than I thought I would. Yeah. I honestly, I don't think I agreed with a lot of what he said, but because I really think today's main issues with the game and the lack of people is still because of the past. It's not because of the present. I think current Dragonflight is fine. I think it's a good time. I think it's the systems they implemented are good. You're not forced to do anything you don't want to do. There's plenty of ways to power progress. It's alt friendly. The story is sus. You know, it is what it is. Whatever. It's not as, you know, axe swingy, decapitating, all kinds of war shit as I would like it to be, but it's fine. It's less annoying than Shadowlands was because it's a little bit more straightforward. But in terms of like why the game isn't at the population levels it should be, I still think it's an effect of what Shadowlands did, and even BFA to an extent, even though BFA in retrospective doesn't look as bad as it was. But it is what it is, and I'll continue playing because I'm fucking addicted to this game. Have been since 2005. What am I gonna do? I got problems.